Okay, so my topic is on women from nightmares, exploring the vulnerability of powerful, horrifying women in popular K dramas. And the K dramas, the Korean dramas I have picked today are Hotel de Luna, which was aired in 2019, and It's Okay to Not Be Okay and Hi Bye Mama, and both of them actually aired in 2020. So this is the table of contents that I'll be talking about. Just I hope that you take a look for a second. Yeah. So these are the formidable women creatures that we'll be talking about. The first one from the left is Jang Manol, who is a very formidable, very eccentric, and very rude and tormented, but she has her own reasons. She has lived on Earth for centuries, for 1,000 years to be specific. What happened 1,000 years ago was that she was an orphan, wandering alone in a forest, and suddenly she was actually prone to danger, and Magoshin deity actually sent her some help in the form of Kuchan Song, who we'll be discussing later on. This is a spoiler for those of you who are watching. So Kuchan Song was not her past lover, rather someone who actually saved her 1,000 years ago, as in a form of a little boy who thought that she should be taken care, in a sense, by some other people. Later on that day, 1,000 years ago, Manoj will be picked up by this clan of bandits, the family of Yonu, uh, and she will be under their care. Now, when they grow up together, they will be a very mischievous kind of beings, and they will befriend this soldier Changmyong. And one day, accidentally, kind of, they actually rob and steal some of the wealth of Princess, the contemporary Princess Changhuz. And obviously, she was furious and she ordered all of them to be killed. And in order to save Manol, Yongu actually surrendered, and he was killed in the process. But Manol did not know that it was Changhua who killed all of these and all of these people of her nearest people, and she thought that it was Changmyong who was her uh, contemporary love interest and who was actually betrothed to Princess Changhua herself. So on their on the wedding bed of Changmyong, Manol kills him, and as a result, she was burdened with all of this guilt, uh, rage, and everything that she had bottled herself within, kind of metaphorically and literally. Now, because she holds deep grudge against herself because of killing the loved one and all everyone. Um, Now, the guilt of killing a dear ones due to political issues, and she was approached by Magoshin again. Magoshin is the deity in a very vast barren land, and she was offered this kind of a drink that we don't know, but perhaps that was the elixir of life that will immortalize her for 1,000 years. And she was given this responsibility to handle this habitat, the ghost habitat, where people after death will be coming in and they will have their unfulfilled wish to be fulfilled by Manol under Manol's supervision, and then they will be departed to afterlife with some luxurious within some luxurious cars or something like that. So that's basically the introduction to Jang Manol's character. Now we have Ko Moon Young here, who was the female protagonist of It's Okay to Not Be Okay K-drama. Um, she is very rude, very obnoxious, self-centered celebrity writer. She's the author of some five very popular K-drama, sorry, five very popular children's stories. Um, but she she has this personality disorder where she actually treats people in a very rude manner and she does not care about anybody else. And because of that, she is often rejected by society for her behavior, of course, and but respected for her unbeatable career. Now, she has this very huge career that actually earns her life a good fortune somehow, but she holds a grudge against her mysterious mother for always controlling her. Now, the thing about her mother is that her mother actually gone missing when she was around, I think, 13 or 14 at that age. And she tried to kill Munyang. She tried to possess Ko Munyang a lot of time. And because of that, when her father actually got to know that her mother was not okay at all, he actually tried to kill his wife. Now, because of that, Ko Munyang also holds grudge against her father and her mother, obviously. This is Chayuri from Hi Bye Mama K-drama, and she is pretty much different from these formidable two creatures before. Now, what Chayuri does is that um, she actually died just before giving birth to her only child, so um, because of a road accident. Now, when she was alive, she was very playful, very kind-hearted, full of banter. She did not even pay any heed to anybody who actually bothered her or something like that. She just lived in a very uh, lazy manner. She never knew that her life could end the next day, literally. Now, she had been a ghost for 5 years who always stayed close to her loved ones, including her child, whom she never got the chance to hold. Because she never got this chance to hold her daughter, her only daughter, she actually latched onto her for 5 years in order to see her little one grow in front of her eyes. And because of this latching spirit, the child, so her name is So she grows this ability to see ghosts, which is not good for a child because that will make her prone to danger. Because as a kid cannot differentiate between a ghost or a human being as a child. Now, because of this, many unfortunate events happens, and the kid almost dies, and that made Chayuri literally crying to God and asking him what caused this misfortune to her and why her only. And suddenly she was granted 49 days on earth to regain her place like before. So she became a human again, and but on this condition only that has to be she has to be just like how she was before dying, the mother, the daughter, the wife of her husband. Um, Now, the thing is that these formidable creatures will be recognized not only by the audience but also by the characters, especially male counterparts, and they will ask for rehabilitation and how will they be able to reconcile? Um, so this is what happens is that we see Manul has her very own Gu Chansong, the male counterpart, who was appointed as the hotel manager. And actually, he was a very divinely orchestrated man because he was never really playing any role during the 1,000 years of life, but only the 1,000 years before. Okay, and now it's time for him to be born again. And Manol actually promises Chansong's father that she will pay for all of his educations and everything. And as a result, Chansong has to be the manager of um, Hotel de Luna. But what happens is that Chansong rejects to work with her, and she is seen as intimidating and very hard to forgive because of her own nature. Um, rudely deals with her characters to face the harsh reality. So obviously, Chansung was a normal human being who actually studied in a very prestigious university, a uh, very brilliant student, and he thought that he will have a very prominent career. But instead, actually, he was appointed as a hotel manager to a ghost hotel that basically did not exist. So obviously, Ko Chansung rejects to work with her, and on the other hand, Manon is seen as a very intimidating personality who was full of greed and very hard to forgive because of her mishandling nature. And she, just like she deals with other character in a very rude manner, Chansung as well behaves very rudely with her. So that's it. Then it's okay not to be okay. We see that because of Ko Moon Young's very rude behavior to everyone, basically, and often making very havoc in her publishing events or any other places, her own publisher Lee has to face these financial issues because he had to bribe these people. And when Moon Young visits this hospital, OK Psychiatric Hospital, many hospital inmates actually are forced to meet their fears. Now, what happens is that these hospital inmates had been treated in the hospital for a very long time, but there were hardly any improvements. But when Ko Moon Young enters, she actually uh, takes some action that will help these hospital inmates to face their fears that they have been hiding for so long. And because of her very eccentric personality, now Moon Brothers, the male counterparts, also suffer a lot because Moon Brothers, Moon Sangte was a very emotionally um, subdued person, and her and his brother Moon Gangte and Moon Sangte was the older brother who had this autism, and Moon Gangte was the person who was the love interest of Komunyoung, and he always just suppressed his own emotions. So, and because of Komunyoung's being very vocal about all of her needs, Moon Brother suffers as well. Moon, on the other hand, Hi Bye Mama, Chayuri actually hides her identity after rebirth from Ganghwa and others because Chayuri thinks that being alive just for 49 days only will only be painful to every people that she knows. And Ganghwa, her husband, has already remarried, so that just makes her out of the frame. And because of this overthinking, she was actually unable to face her friends for a very long time. She was unsure of her current position, often made awkwardly with changes because she was never a mother and she never got the chance to actually handle the real things with care. She was unsure of her current position. Her degrees that she once had before being alive has obviously no usage at all, and now she's a pickup helper or a kitchen lady uh, in the child's preschool, and she was often met with awkwardly with changes because she is not very well acquainted with the devices, with the scams that people are having in daily lives because she was not alive for 5 years. Now, what happens is that how the audiences are getting to know that these characters are trying to rehabilitate. They are trying to learn and unlearn things. Is in case for Jang Manol, the flower starts to grow in the tree that symbolizes her life. Now, when Manol first entered Hotel de Luna, the ghost habitat, um, she had uh, she had encountered this huge tree that were neither alive or nor dead. Now, when Chansung appears in this frame, flower starts to grow from the tree. That symbolizes that her life is starting to, like the, resume again. Um, Now, what happens is the misunderstanding happens because she thinks now that Chan Song as her past lover, not as Chang Miao, not as a person himself, and as a result, she was showcasing the unresolved past emotions alongside the vulnerability that was unlike her usual aloofness. Now, she was always aloof to all kinds of memories that she once had about Changmyung, but now that she really thinks that um, Chansung was the person that she once loved, she starts being vulnerable. Uh, Ko Young, on the other hand, starts to sacrifice her living and emotional space not only with her love interest but older brother whom she considers family. Now, this is a very problematic thing because for Moon Young, of course, because Moon Young is a kind of person who rarely does this thing, who rarely shares her things with the people she actually doesn't need. Now, it is understandable why Moon starts to share the space with her love interest, but it also shows that she is having a character development because she starts to share the living and emotional space with the older brother as well, whom she considers family, the same family that the same family word that she once held a very grudge with. She starts to show her own emotions to Juri's mother as well as paying a visit to her father's grave. Now, who is Juri? Juri is the person who was once best friend with Komunyang, but because of her eccentric qualities, she was often been alone, even in the friends group, in schools or everywhere. Now, that's how Juri's and her friendship actually got broken. But Juri's mother was someone who was very kind and always treated Komunyang as her own daughter. And even though Komunyang knew that, she never really acknowledged this thing. But now she's starting to show her own emotions to Juri's mother as well. And as a form of paying a visit to her father's grave, it is signifying that maybe Monyang is starting to forgive her own father. And also by cutting her own long hair that her mother once adored. So, what as her mother was very obsessive in nature, she used to think Monyang as one of her best creations. So and she would at night she would comb her hair very religiously and constantly would tell her that she was the best creation that the Witch of the West, the mother, would ever create. So by cutting her own long hair, her mother once adored, Moonyang starts to unlearning all of the things that she once had with her mother and with her father and everything. Now, on the other hand, Yuri is now vocal about her choice of being alive, irrespective of others' reaction of her being alive again. Because when Yuri was granted life on Earth, she thought that her life revolved around only her child and also on only other than the other people like who actually cared for her. But it was not about that. She was alive because of herself. Now she was being vocal about it. So that means she is trying to learn and unlearn about all of the things that she could do as a human being, not as a mother or for any relationship for that matter. Instead of hiding her truth as a reminder to leave soon without notifying anyone, she now starts to vow to spend quality time with each person apart from a child, as all of them loves her equally dearly, not as mother but also as a person. Just like I said, Yuri thought of herself only as a mother of soul, but she was also the daughter of her parents. So At first, she was thinking that she should spend the rest of her time with the child, but later she realizes that no, she kind of owes some time to her parents, to her best friends as well, because they love her equally dearly, just like she does to her child and others. Um, as a result, we see what happens at the end as they reconcile with themselves, the self and the other. Manol departs to the afterlife with no regrets. Now, Manol has lived on Earth for like 1,000 years, so she has started to age, and now that she could depart to the afterlife by as Chansung bid goodbye to her with no regrets, that makes Manol the happiest in this case. And we see that in another life, she lives as a couple with Chansung, which is another great thing. On the other hand, Komunyang lives together happily with Moon brothers because Munyang actually wanted a family all while, but she never got the chance because people never came close to her. Her career was unsure because most of her writing were based on the trauma that her mother gave. So by having her career as a writer being unsure, that makes her actually free from the trauma that she once hold on to as a and she used to write about. And now they live all together in a caravan away from society because they travel a lot, so they don't get any neighbors in code to judge them because of their own personality traits. Now, Yuri says goodbye to everyone, spends every minute preciously. One thing that Yuri has learned after returning on Earth is that every minute is precious. You don't get any other day to replace the one that you are having right now. So what Yuri does is that she realizes that if she has to say this goodbye to everyone, she must say it properly. So she spends quality time with everyone, and she wants everyone to smile at her when she is going to say goodbye forever, even the kid. And the last scene was very emotional because we see that it was a very blossoming path, and she was sitting with her kid and asks her kid that, so that I'm going, now that I'm going, will you please come to mama next life? And for the first time in life, so calls her a mother. She says that bye mama. And it's very beautiful because in Korean language, 안녕하세요 actually means hello, and 안녕히하세요 actually means bye. But when you want to say that 안녕, it actually means hi and also the bye. So that's why the name of this series is Hi Bye Mama. So we don't really know if we see the Korean title. Is it 안녕 Mama? Does it mean hi or does it mean bye? So maybe the kid is actually making this pun as well. We never know. And as a ritual, the Saman Medong actually, in order to send Yuri to the afterlife, she holds this mirror in front of her. And just like any other people that actually loved Yuri, Yuri loves herself now. So she smiles at the mirror and departs from afterlife as Baba is saying goodbye and with no regrets. So that makes sure that she will be reincarnated as a human being again, maybe for the next life. Now, these are the minor characters. This is Saman Midong from Hi Bye Mama, who was being an outcast by her family, by her friends in society. Initially, she was treated like this. On the other hand, this is Do Huije of Park Heng-ja from It's Okay to Not Be Okay, who was initially praised for her diplomatic nature and caregiving attitude, soft-spoken maturity, because she was an employee of OK Psychiatric Hospital. Now, what happens is that after all of these character developments, we see Midong Dik was respected for her job and truthful nature and receiving apologies from people but never quite acceptance. Um, Dufije or Park Hingja actually was revealed to be the mother of Komunyang, the mysterious mother figure, and also it was revealed that she actually murdered the mom of Moon Brothers, and she was arrested. I will elaborate a bit on the character of Midong Dik because she was the summon character in Hi Bye Mama, who plays a huge role in the series, but not as much as the real summon in actual Korean culture because she never actually performs good during in this series. But if you want to experience how good actually happens, good is the Samanic ritual. You can watch this film called Exuma. This is also a Korean film, and it was told that during this shooting of a kut or the Samanic ritual, original salmon was actually there so that nothing misfortunate, unfortunate thing happens in that. Because Samanic rituals are considered to be a field of misfortune, even the salmons as well. That's why they are bound to live in the outside part of the city, of the village, near the mountain, and their practicing space would be in the basement. So that whatever they do with the huge drum beatings and all this spirit stick that we see here, so that these noises do not go into the public places because even the sound would mean a very beginning of misfortune. And that's why the Saman characters are very criticized, and Midong is no other case. And Midong is very criticized and socially ostracized by the society even when they seek and get help from her Saman. Now, what happens in Korea is that as much people believe in everything, science, medicine, everything, but they're bound by religion in a way, and it does not matter what religion they actually follow, they will know that they kind of they cannot disavow the power of shamanism. And it was in this book that I've read, called Korean Shamanism of the Cultural Paradox by Chong Ho Kim, where the researcher, the native anthropologist, actually observes this kut practices, the Korean summons, and actually visits this place with the original summons, even sometimes uh, practice the ritual with them. Uh, he has very he had very difficult and very interesting experiences. But what was there is that the social ostracization was non-negotiable, and it was even more in the youngsters because youngsters would think that maybe shamanism is fake, maybe shamans are just a scam because they were just like any other business women. They just want business because shamanism takes huge money to perform a good. It is really expensive, and people actually spend money on that. So that's there. But if you ask any older person from Korea if they believe in shamanism, they will not only ignore the question, but they will know, you will know by their faces that they do not actually disagree with it. Because one of these people actually told the anthropologist that yes, when they go to Buddha or God, they will tell them that, yeah, everything will be fine, everything will be good, God is with you, and all of these things, all the good blessings, but they will never solve your problem. Whereas shamans are the people who actually listens to you and solve your problems by performing the ritual. So the thing you see in this in the hand of Midong Dek, this is Midong Dek, and this is called spirit stick. So what happens during a kut is that the shaman was present, and the person who has this problem, they will be present as well, and this will be held by the person who had this problem. And by actually by this hand movement, they will be drawing these ghosts and ask them what problem they have, and they will tell the shaman, and that's how they will make sure that the problem will be gone. Because of all of these things, the spirit attracting and everything, summons are not seen in a very good light. And Midong Dik, very ironically, in this series is a funny character. She is not very formidable, but she is very, how do I say, negligible by the people around her. That's why her own son actually never liked her from the beginning and never visits her. Even as a friend, Yuri also hates the idea that her daughter So actually can become like Midong, even though Midong is her best friend in a way. Um, as a shaman, though, she is feared by the ghost, but her kind heart allows the ghost of her area to stay on earth just for a little sometime. Because according to Midong Dik, um, if any misfortune is about to happen in the life of ghosts, it has already happened. They are already dead. There is no other unfortunate things for these people other than being just dead. Neither she is accepted by the society nor she is celebrated, but we see people being apologetic for her wrong behavior and prejudices. Now, that is a good thing because as a person with this kind of occupation, she is not accepted in the society nor celebrated, but she is acknowledged and not really publicly. But to be apologized to, that is a good sign that people are actually being aware of her presence more than they were before. Supernatural intervention is that in Hotel de Luna we see that Magoshin, the um, god, the deity, the hemp goddess, actually blesses and curses Manol to atone for her sin and reconcile with herself because Manol actually killed the very dear ones and she could not actually forgive herself. And in a way, she could not have gone to afterlife in a good manner. That's why maybe symbolically Magoshin actually tried to help her in a way by blessing or cursing her for 1,000 years of life in order to let her have the time to forgive herself first. The ghost mother and witch of the west return forces Moon to get out of her mother's shadow. If the issue of witch of the west returning in the lives of Moon and her love life did not appear just in case, then maybe Munyang would try to suppress all of these traumas, all of this memory instead of getting out of it for real. That's a very good intervention in her life, in a way, even though it actually was very turbulent in nature. On the other hand, God grants Uri to live again in order to show a mother's struggle, but also to say a proper goodbye. The main reason Uri was granted a life was not because of her begging to God that she needs to protect her own child from all these ghosts and all of these things. No, that was not the case. Because Uri was granted life because of Uri's mother. Uri's mother prayed every day to God that she just for once she wants to see her own child just for once because when Yuri died in the road accident she was not meant to go outside but yes she did and it was for like 5 minutes or something she could have come back if she wanted and the last call she actually had was with her mother and her mother actually intervened to say that don't go today maybe just don't go yet she went and actually she died so that's why Yuri's mother regret that day a lot. If she was just a little bit early, if she pressed her daughter a little bit more, maybe she could have let her daughter hold, you know, in her arms once more. That's why she actually begged to God that please let me see my daughter once again. And because of that begging, the God actually grants Yuri to live again. Uh, because Ko Young was a writer, she used to write these stories, and we see these stories in all of the episodes. those are five stories, and this is the title of the first story that we are introduced to in uh, as the first episode name in this K drama. And the story goes like a boy who was haunted by nightmares during his childhood, and those nightmares were uh, plagued with all of the past memories, of the painful memories. And one day, the kid actually goes to this witch um, in exchange of his soul that please take my nightmares away. And the witch grants his wish. So this kid actually forgets all of these past memories, all of these painful memories, and as a result, he was supposed to be happy. But quite the contrary, he never got to be happy. He is growing into an adult, but he is hardly happy. Now, when he again visits the witch says this thing that I have put up in this quote, that heartful and painful memories, memories of deep regrets, memories of hurting others and being hurt, memories of being abandoned. Only those with such memories buried in their hearts can become stronger, more passionate, and emotionally flexible. And only those can attain happiness, because these are the memories that we should actually face with courage, and by forgiving them, by forgiving those memories, the people that actually were, linked with these memories and ourselves, our past selves, we can be actually growing. As human being, we are subjected to feel things, good or bad, and face and blame entities that may or may not be visible now in our lives, but it helps us believe that in possibility from our past guilt and sufferings, often giving another chance to live happily again. So, yeah, as human beings, we're subjected to feel things, good or bad, face and blame it, because it is easier this way. But somehow we still ask for the possibilities of rehabilitation from our past guilt and sufferings, and often giving another chance to live happily again. So, yeah, this is it, I guess. Thank you.